Hello, hello, hello there. Welcome to a new episode of your Frederish podcast. As you know, my name's Gary, and here I am once again for one more episode with you guys. So sit down, relax. It's really, really hot. I know we're all almost melting with the summer, but nevertheless, let's just get up for a few minutes to go grab something to drink, to not only relax in this situation today for obvious reasons, but also to refresh us, literally speaking, so we can cool down metaphorically and literally speaking. All right. Oh, today's topic is a little bit controversial, but I promise I'm addressing it in a more of a educational way in terms of English, of course, which is, as you know, as I always say, as I'm always reminding you, for educational purposes related to the English language, more specifically for vocabulary purposes. So, without further ado, what is your religion? What is your cosmovision? What do you believe in? Or if you don't believe anything, how do you define yourself? We're gonna talk more about the existing religions, of course, also the atheism in general. That is people who do not accept a possibility, or at least do not believe the possibility of some creator, basically, of the universe, of the existence. We're gonna talk about it all in the most fun and useful and cool and respectful way as possible. All right. Okay. Speaking of respect, I gotta make a disclaimer. Okay, very very important. That is today's topic is more related to religions that are present, so to say, or considerably present in English-speaking countries, So we will be checking the way you say the words you usually say related to religion, be that names of people, be that names of things, be that concepts, So I'm not gonna be, of course, for a matter of time too, we don't have like forever. It's just a few minutes of your company. Before I leave you up to the weekend. So I'm just gonna be talking about the main ones, the biggest ones, so to say, in terms of number, all right? So that's it, okay? Well, religion is controversial today, but in my opinion, it shouldn't be controversial, It wouldn't be controversial in a respectful society. Unfortunately, we're far away from it at this moment, in the moment I'm recording this episode. But we're doing good. In my opinion, we, humanity, we're doing a good job, or at least we're more progressing than regressing. Again, that's my opinion, right? In terms of, today, okay, there are wars being waged at this very moment because of religion, but not because of religion at the same time, Because years ago we had, just a quick comment, since I brought this up, but like hundreds of years ago, or even a couple of decades ago, we saw religious, and history is full of it, with this kind of situation that are religions strictly based on wars strictly based or solemnly based on religion. Today we have wars based on religion. I mean, wars, literal wars, okay? Not like just people, cursing at each other, on the internet or anything like that. But real wars we had in the past. Today we have wars going on behalf of religion. But when I look deeply, I just can help but think like, well, this sounds like a big excuse, to go to war, although it's still a very sad situation. It's a little bit, if possible, it gets to be a little bit less sad, basically, because I don't see people really going there because of religion. Again, this is my opinion. Maybe you don't agree. That's okay, all right? But the fact is, officially, we still have people, waging wars over religion. Unfortunately, right? Anyways, that's it. That's what I wanted to say about it. So let's just go. Let's just jump into the main point. Well, ever since the dawn of man, as they say, the beginning of history, when humanity started thinking more properly, because before that, our primitive thinking was more into hunting, mating, and surviving, right? So primitive things, primitive and instinctive things that are much more connected to our animal side than to our spiritual side. So by this, I think I make really clear what do I believe in. I believe in spirit. Okay, I believe we're not just, body, flesh. Okay, and one quick information for you, English learner. The word flesh, okay, spells Flesh. I'm not saying the word flash like the hero, okay, the fast guy. Flesh with an E, okay, Flesh, yeah, flesh, okay. Flesh is carne when in terms of a body, okay, like flesh and bones, carne y ossos in this specific matter, okay. So we're not just flesh, in my opinion. We are something beyond that, okay. That's it, okay. I even kind of lost my track here. Let me just go back to where I was. Just give me a second. Yeah, I was talking about our primitive thinking. Okay, so ever since we started organizing ourselves in groups of people, basically, I'm making a really long story, really short, but that's it. Ever since we started gathering together to survive, every being more specific, ever since society or something that can, at least relate to it, at least get close to it, we started also wondering, thinking, looking up to the sky and going like, hey, what's behind that? Who's up there? If we're down here, well, probably there's someone up there, right? So pushing forward the timeline a little bit, religion is with us ever, from the very beginning of humanity, right? Some people say it's bad, some people say it's good, but I would like to just leave it be this way as the word of necessary. I really think that it is really hard not to believe, in anything in terms of like, wow, when I die, where do I go to, or more importantly, when people around me, especially the ones I care about, when they die, where do they go to? It's a big conflict for our atheist or skeptical friends, but that's it. Okay, I'm just saying that I believe that most of them can cope really well with that. That's not a problem. But that's it. I'm just saying this to portray the picture here of where religion has come around. At the beginning, people used to believe not only in one God but in multiple gods, which is called in English polytheism. And then at some point, people started talking about, hey, maybe there's only one God, not like lots of gods. And then humanity in general became, mostly, of course, not all of us, but most of humanity became, for some reason, which is not the point discussing here, believing only in one God, which we say monotheism. Okay, polytheist, people who believe in multiple gods in plural, and monotheist, people believing in only one God. So The words are to describe these things: monotheism and polytheism. All right. Okay. When we talk about monotheism, it is necessary to go straight to the ancient Egypt, right? Where a guy that most of Christians know, called Moses, right? Moises, all right? In English, Moises is Moses, okay? In case you didn't know that. So even before Moses, we had Abraham. I think it's not necessary translating this name, but these guys were the beginners, the pioneers, so to say, of the monotheism. The Christian, what we call today Christian God, right? But the Greeks, let's shift a little bit the country, the region. In the ancient Greece, people were monotheists, okay, meaning that they believed in multiple gods, right? Well, I don't know, to be honest, and even if I knew or had a firm opinion about it, this is not a point to this episode here, but it's curious to see how polytheism is inferior, putting in, this way, to monotheism. Like, there isn't big monotheist, polytheist religions today. Most of religions believe in multiple entities, but not all of them. But God is only one. Each one of them with their specific one, but it's like one, right? So it's interesting to see how much monotheism was left behind in history. I was just wondering. All right, so alongside with when we talk about Moses and Abraham, we are talking about the precursors of the three biggest religions today. Not in terms of numbers, but in terms of influence. Okay, and this is probably my opinion, but at least the three biggest religions in the Western civilization. Okay, Europe, America, North and South, right? That are Christianity. Okay, those who believe in Jesus Christ. Judaism. Okay, the Jews. Okay, the people from the Torah, they're monotheists. They believe in the same God of Jesus that Jesus Christ preached, but they don't believe basically he is the Son of God or someone basically more special than anyone else in this universe. And then of course the Islamic religion, the Islam. Okay, so people who belong to to Christianity, who believe in Christianity, are called Christians, okay? And those who believe in the Judaism, who practice Judaism, better saying, are called Jews, okay? Jews. And those who practice Islam, who are adapted to Islam, are called Muslims, okay? Muslim, Christian, Jew, okay? The three top religions, at least in terms of influence in the Western civilization, okay? But then going a little bit to the east, okay, to Asia, these three religions sort of lose influence there. Their influence there are much lower, much inferior. I'm not a specialist in religions, guys. I'm just going through as far as my knowledge. I'm a curious guy about religion. I love reading and understanding the way other people think, but I'm not an expert here, let alone in the Eastern civilization, right? In Asia and these places. But yeah, I would say that Buddhism is really strong there, really influential in China, in Japan, right? And religion and similar religions. Some people say Buddhism is not a religion, and I'm not here to argue that or even give my opinion. But for sake of a healthy lecturing or me talking here, so we can make my life easier. Let us just say it's a religion, all right? So my Buddhist friends, do not get angry at me. I'm just being didactical here, okay? And then, of course, there is Hindi religions and a vast number of similar similar uh, cosmoviews, or religions or sects or whatever you may call them. Um, well, it is really hard, not to say impossible, to talk about similarities in all these religions, apart from the fact that they all believe in one powerful, infinite source, right? We Christians call it God, Jews call it God, Muslims call it Allah, which is God, right? If there's a Muslim listening to this, and you can possibly write down, correct me if I'm wrong, and forgive me if I'm wrong, of course, but I believe Allah is God, right? If I say God, like when you guys say God, oh my God, you guys are talking about Allah, aren't you? Yeah, that's it. But then in the Eastern civilization, as far as I know, guys, again, I'm not a specialist, but to the best of my knowledge, I believe that they're more into, especially Buddhists, in terms of like a source of energy and power, like the creation, the creating source, basically. This is what gets closer to what we call God, but they don't believe in God specifically, right? Well, when we talk about the way these religions treat life, right? Well, Christians, if you're a Christian, if you were raised in a Christian family, you know as well. But there are some instructions that must be followed to the best of your efforts, called the Ten Commandments. All right, they're in the book that is in the Bible, right? That is in the part of this book, the Bible, that is called the Old Testament. So the Bible is divided into two parts: the Old Testament, and yeah, you guessed correctly, the New Testament. Some people say, in some translations, they say covenant, but that's another story. Well, Jews, as I said before, they have a book that they call the Torah, right? That is present in the Christian Bible. That are the 5 first books of the Bible. They have it all in only one book, and they call it the Torah. That's their rule code. Okay, just like the Bible is the rule code, the rules code, right? For Christians, the Torah is the rules code book for Jews. Well, the Islamics, the Muslims, have a book that they call the Quran, okay, or Al Quran, right? The Quran, Al Quran, like the two ways that it's called. It's their book of instructions, meditations, just like the Bible for Christians and just like the Torah for Jews. Well, in Eastern, they don't have like books that they follow like we do follow the Bible here in the Western civilization, or even Jews, or like the 3 books I mentioned before. They have like vast literature, around their transcending beliefs, like what is beyond the matter, beyond as I said before, the flesh, the body, right? They have like lots of books, but none of them to say like, hey, this is their quote unquote Bible, or their quote unquote Quran, or their quote unquote Torah. Okay. Well, just to finish it off, I would say that we could be talking forever about it, but I'll let you guys go after more information, more vocabulary. Like don't be forgive my candor, but don't be lazy. Please go after vocabulary, learn words, read about things. If possible, read these books I mentioned. It's an interesting thing, But just to finish it off, let's talk about our atheist friends. So an atheist person is a person who does not believe in a creator of the universe, or even spiritual things that are spirits, and the fact that this life continues, this life goes on, proceeds after we pass away, after we die. Okay, atheists are usually more like, I don't accept the possibility of God existing. As far as I can tell, it is not real. It cannot be real. While we have agnostics, who are a little bit more, a little bit milder, I would say, like in terms of like, hey, I don't believe in God, but who am I to tell? I don't know. Maybe he's there, or maybe he is there, but he isn't what they say he is, right? That's a agnostic person. So, as far as the religions are concerned, they all tell us that they all have in common. Okay, again, I said before that they have in common, like pointing to one specific source of power. Okay, be that God, be that something nameless, but they just point to the same. And the second thing they all have in common is that, and maybe not the last, but the second and the most relevant one, in my opinion, is the fact that they tell us, they teach us, they believe that life goes on after death. They believe in life after death. Be that the way it is, like Muslims believe that if you're good, heaven, you're a man and you're good. In heaven, you have 7 virgin ladies waiting for you, while Christians believe in a more of a angelical, and eternal joy feeling, and around with animals, around with rivers and green, and all green around you. And the Jews, I believe, they go like in a similar way as the Christians go to that matter. But they all, just like the Asian religions, if you can call them that way, they all believe life continues after death, right? Well, one crucial difference between Asian religions, Eastern religions, like Buddhism, like Hindi. I'm not so sure about Hindi, but I'm sure about Buddhism in terms of they differ, they disagree, they don't have the same vision here is compared to the Semitic religions. That's the term for Christianity, for Judaism, and for Islam. Is that these 3 religions believe that if you're bad, you're gonna have a suffering, or maybe and possibly even eternal suffering after your death. If you're good, you're gonna have eternal joy. If you're bad, if you've been bad in life, or evil, or whatever you call it, you're gonna have an eternal suffering period. Buddhists, as far as I can tell, do not think this way, and I am inclined to believe that Hindus don't think this way either. Well, guys, as I said, there's so much that can be said about this. And again, this is just this podcast only has a educational purpose. Okay, I really hope you have managed to practice English with this episode and learn new words, and more importantly than that, ignited your curiosity to go after more information and consequently more vocabulary, more words, more confidence, more knowledge, more everything. So I just finished it off saying religion is important, but it shouldn't be at least more important than the personal respect we have to each other. Like, we should respect each other in terms of the things we say, the things we do to other people. This is or at least should be more important, in my opinion, than anything else. And that's it for this episode. Thank you so very much for your lovely company. I can feel your energy right here. And that's it for today. My name is Gary, and I see you in the next episode. Bye.